Everybody, welcome to AstroScopes for tonight, the 18th of October. I'm your host, Johnita Francis, and as promised, I thought we'd talk about Mercury retrograde. There is so much that flies around this lovely blue planet of ours every time Mercury goes into retrograde. Most people freak out, okay? They just freak out. Some people are convinced that their world will implode. Others are convinced that every single conversation they have or every single thing that they do is going to be somehow impacted by Mercury going to retrograde. I can, hand on heart, promise tell you that Mercury retrograde is very, very individual. Mercury is the planet that looks after communication, okay? So it's about any form of communication. So even if you're going to carry a pigeon and you're using your carrier pigeon to send your information, it's going to get lost, okay? The internal GPS will go haywire. Any form of communication, any form of negotiation, lease agreements, all those sorts of things are what are ruled by Mercury, okay? Retrograde is a term that is used for planets that feel like they're slowing down, okay? So think about, when you're reversing your car out of the supermarket car park and a car's coming in and it feels like you're going forward and you can't quite work out what's going on. It's a bit of a head spin for you. That's Mercury retrograde, okay? It's not that the planet is going backwards. It's just that it slows down so much. Everything else stays the same pace, so it feels like it's going backwards. Another way of, if you can't quite grasp that idea, is when you see those cars with those beautiful mag wheels, and sometimes the car's going forward, but the mag wheel looks like it's going backwards. That's what Mercury retrograde is, an illusion, okay? So it's a sleep state for the planet. So it's having a little lazy nap, I suppose. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, there's a couple of different layers to it. Hi, everyone. There's a couple of different layers to it. And basically what we need to remember is that it looks after communications. It slows down. It gets kind of lazy, okay? That's why when we enter in negotiations or we have a look at a new job, we go and sign a contract on a house, there's all these sorts of delays because it gets lazy. It's just like, I'm having a rest. I don't want to go as fast as I normally go. I don't want to be driven and move things. And you know how fast the world is getting in our communication and how we communicate, how we get our messages across. So when, and we probably feel Mercury retrograde collectively more now so than ever before because we rely on these communication. I know that a couple of months ago, a month or so, whatever it was, Mercury was like bumping everything in my chart. It was really like, hey lady, hey lady, hey lady. And I was like, well, you just pissed off Mercury. And I had internet issues and computer issues and I had to reset everything and get a new operating system. It's a flipping nightmare. So it will affect different things at different times. So what I will tell you about retrogrades and any retrograde really, okay, just stay away from elective surgery. Now, the reason why that is because, obviously, if it's unsafe to if it's unsafe to postpone or things like that, then you have to go along with it. And there's some little tips and hints that I can give people if you have to go in for surgery during the retrograde period. I can help you do a little bit of witchy poo stuff that will ease the effects of going in and having surgery during those retrograde times. But what I can tell you is that if you go in for surgery and just say you want your boobs to be a size D, don't be annoyed if you come out with an extra arm or a leg missing, okay? Because not everybody is thinking in a forward motion. Everything is delayed during Mercury retrograde. So we feel that collectively, but not everybody will feel it the same way. If I grabbed all of these people that are watching tonight and shoved them in a room on October 31st, which is when it will go into retrograde, when it begins the retrograde period, it will stay there till November 20th. So we've got about 3.5 weeks. Okay. So if I chucked you all in a room, you will each feel Mercury retrograde differently. Some of you already had Mercury retrograde in your natal charts, okay, which means that it was already going slow. So the way you deal with things, the way you process things, it will also depend on where it sits in your zodiac and your houses as well. but the way you do things can be slightly different. Where Mercury was sitting as far as the elements are concerned, so your air sign, your earth, those sorts of things, that also has an impact on how Mercury retrograde will affect you. Of all the people that are watching, there might be common threads like, oh God, my phone is pissing me off. It just keeps freezing. Lots of people will have that issue, okay? But you won't all feel a retrograde in the same manner, okay? You just won't. It's like gastro. It's another bad analogy. I really need to work on my analogies. Everyone has had gastro in the past, okay? That really upset tummy, or you're scared whether you're going to vomit or whether your bottom's going to vomit. But we all feel it differently. We all get different symptoms leading up to it. The effects and the cause of what's going on might be similar, but how we cope with that and how long we get it for is very individual. And Mercury retrograde is exactly the same thing. Mercury retrograde is going into retro in Scorpio. Okay, so what this means is we're going to think about Scorpio as a sign, okay? Scorpio, intuition, trusting our gut, those sorts of things. Mercury, communication. So what we're going to do here is we're going to think about what our gut is telling us to apply that intuitive ability to our decision-making during a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Okay, so this will work in the water month, or water elements of the zodiac. Whatever your gut tells you to do during October 31st, I'd even go October 30th through to November 21st, okay? So that whole period, it's going to be in retrograde for, going to slow down. So what I want you to think about is take your time to trust your gut. If your gut works really quickly and you're able to spit your responses out really quickly, go with that, because that's your gut feeling telling you. But if you have to take time to think about things and process things and how am I feeling about this and understand what your emotion is, do that too, okay? This is all about you working with Mercury retrograde to understand how that energy affects you, so you can maximize or minimize the trauma and the happy time, okay? It doesn't have to be a traumatic time for you. When Mercury goes into an air sign, so Libra, for example, you're encouraged. The best way for you to get through Mercury retrograde in an air sign is by talking about it, getting those issues out, really saying to people, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm saying, this is the situation, okay? And that's how you can avoid miscommunications during a Mercury retrograde in an air sign, okay? Fire. So Aries. How you can get that is by being creative, being spontaneous, getting those quick ideas around. So you don't, because it's a cardinal, so you don't want to slow down. The planet's slowing down, but you need to move forward. So that's where you can apply your really wacky ideas and then your crazy ideas and the ideas that you may not necessarily bring to the table when it's in an earth sign. So when Mercury goes to earth, very logic. You will piss people off if you try to go to Aries energy during a Mercury in earth, okay? Mercury retrograde in earth. You want to slow things down and apply logic to it. So all in all, if I was you for this Mercury retrograde, I would understand where your own Mercury is first. You can do that through astro.com for free, okay? It's a cheap site. You will need to know your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth within 100 kilometers, okay? So if you're a country kid and you had to move somewhere else to be born sort of thing, or, you know, you're a bit further away from where you're actually born right now, check all that out so you can get an accurate description of where you were born and where the planets were at that time of birth, the natal chart. And then work out how your Mercury, how your individual Mercury, so you have one in your own chart, how that's going to be aspected or supported or challenged or opposed in what Mercury is doing right now in the society transits, okay? So the natal chart is a snapshot of like a still picture of where everything was when you were born. And then you have your current transits. If you have heard that expression before, I've got a bug flying around here to drive me crazy. I'm trying not to kill it, but it's not getting the please go away, the quiet, nicely, please go away. So if you want to know more about your individual chart, let me know, or jump on astro.com and have a look, okay, and see if it's got a little R next to it. It means it's in retrograde. A lot of people that have 4 or 5 planets in retrograde when they're born, they struggle to understand emotions, or they struggle to articulate their emotions, okay, because things are slower for them. So, and it also depends, obviously, which planets are in retrograde, but generally speaking, stereotypical astrology would indicate that it's retrograde planets can make things a bit slower for you. That doesn't mean you're academically challenged, okay? It just means that how you arrive at things, or your lessons and your challenges, will happen a little bit slower for you. Look, where possible, I would always recommend that you avoid making any major decisions or big decisions during Mercury retrograde, which is common practice, okay? If you can't put the decisions off, have a look and see where Mercury retrograde is sitting. If it's in Scorpio, say to yourself, right, I really need the answer, Spirit. Give me the answer to what this dilemma is. Should I proceed with this decision? Should I hold off? Should I try to stall them? Those sorts of things. If it's in Earth, Mercury retrograde in Earth, and you have to make that decision, apply logic. Bounce it off your most logic friend and say, right, I need to remove all emotion from this decision. Can you help me with this? And if Mercury's in Libra or an air sign, then you go and find your most talkative friend and say, right, let's talk about this. I need to get to this intellectual answer that I need to be able to make this decision right now during a time that I know decisions can sometimes let us down. But that's a smart way to use the energy to your advantage, okay? Of course, retrograde is not going to affect everyone, which I did cover already. Now's the time to declutter. So when Mercury goes retrograde, in Scorpio in particular, it means that a lot of things from the past will come up, things that you need to close out, emotional baggage, emotional understanding, all those sorts of things will start coming out. And if you don't deal with them, you'll get to deal with them again, okay? Mercury it will come through Scorpio or a water sign, sorry, a water sign. I'm not looking at the comments because someone is going, me, and I can hear them and I can feel them, and Spirit's starting to flicker my lights. We're not doing that tonight. We're doing AstroScopes. So when the Mercury is in a water sign, take your time to declutter everything, clear everything out, because when you clear things out, you allow space for new things to come in. And sometimes those new things have got a bit of baggage attached to them that you didn't see coming, or that you're not aware that you need to work through and get some closure for. Even if you didn't even see it coming, you may still need to get some closure and a new perception on how you look at things, okay? So Mercury retrograde can be a brilliant time. It does not have to be a pain in the ass. It does not have to shit you to tears. You can use it to your advantage, and I highly recommend that you do that. Just down the bottom of the screen, don't forget the Spiritual Events Directory has a publication. Go Sarah. And she's looking for advertisers. So if you do this for a living, or you want to help people, you have an alternative health business, those sorts of things, get in touch with Sarah from the Spiritual Events Directory and she will be able to hook you up. I'm so not ghetto. That was pretty pathetic, wasn't it? If you're also wanting to see me in person, I will be at Goulburn coming up in November. I will also be in Bathurst I will be doing platforming night. So along with some other mediums as well, of course, not just me, but I'll be up there for an hour on the stage, which I am super pumped about, tuning into spirit, talking to people, helping people remove things that they don't need in their life anymore, giving them some clear direction on where to next. So you're in Bathurst on the 9th of November. Grab yourself a ticket to Whispers with Spirit. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee you. Other than that, Goulburn Workers Club on the 2nd of November will get you a reading with me face to face. So I'll just have a quick look. Oh, that's some very interesting questions. Leanne, how do you change your mood after a day like I have had? Leanne, you and I had similar days today. So I spoke to Leanne before I came online tonight, and I know what sort of days she's had. I'm not being a medium and being super clever. She shared that part of her life with me, and I've had a very emotional roller coaster of 24 hours as well. for different reasons, of course. But and how I change my mood around and how I keep going, and it's because I find strength in adversity. I find strength in being able to understand my weaknesses, embrace them, be okay with them, know that I'm doing the best I can with the information that I've got right at this point, and I never beat myself up. I used to be such a bitch to myself because the people around me were bitches to me. So I just thought that, everyone else was saying it, I may as well say it as well. So I have since learnt that the kinder I am to myself, the more forgiving I am for myself and my shortcomings or my perceived shortcomings. And because I understand that I am in human form and I'm here for the human experience, I change my mood by accepting the fact that not every day I'm going to feel my prettiest. Not every day I'm going to feel my slimmest or my strongest or my most brave. This morning I was trying to talk to a friend of mine, and I needed to hear her voice so badly that my eyes kept filling up with tears every time I tried to get every time I tried to get my voice message across. And I tried to formulate it because I knew that I was going to crack, and I just couldn't. As soon as I pressed that record button for my voice and tried to send it to my friend, I really needed her in that car with me right at that moment to let me know that everything was going to be okay. But she couldn't do that. We were on opposite ends of freaking Sydney. But I really needed her. So what I did was I go, okay, I haven't had a lot of people around me forever. This is it's a personal journey that I need to go on. What can I do? What can I control right now that will put me in a different place? And like I just did that, I got my stuff together and I acknowledged my tears. I just let you all know, here we go again. But then I embraced the fact that I'm here, I'm human. Life is going to throw shit at me. And it's not how quick I can go through the shit, but it's what I turn that shit into. Do I turn it into a beautiful garden and embrace the flowers? Do I let it pile up and don't deal with it? Do I stick it in a corner and try to ignore it? And I just try to grow more flowers. Every time someone hurls shit at me, I go, thanks for the fertilizer, let's go. What are we going to plant this time? So that is how I personally change my mood around. I don't try to ignore it. I try to acknowledge it. I'm very much, I was not nurtured at all. So nurturing is a new thing for me. It was tough to teach yourself nurturing as an adult is really tough. So I just draw on my own experience, draw on every strong person that I have around me, and then I jump on and do these sorts of things, and I connect with people that just make me feel humble and make me feel that everything will be all right, and I draw on your strength and everybody that's watching tonight. It's just the same thing. You're all here looking for different things in your life, and I'm sharing little portions of my life and helping you through Mercury retrograde. And by me giving freely of my time and trying to support people and on their journeys, I'm able to just keep going. It gives me strength to keep going. It's very humbling. It's very humbling what I get to do with my life, and the beautiful people that I get to share my life with. So hopefully that will help you a little bit, my darling Leanne. Okay. Oh, Leanne's in tears too. We can all just have like a kumbaya moment and cry, okay? Because I think crying is quite cathartic. Although I was ugly crying this morning, so I was pretty pleased that maybe I was by myself. When you snort your tears and then you start snorting because you just can't get your breath under control. It's funny now, okay? But it was quite distressing at the time, and I get that. And I didn't even fight it. I just needed to work through it, and that's why I'm able to smile about it now, because I did the best I could with what I had at the time, and I know that I did my best, and that is good enough for me. So yeah. All right, guys. I'm not doing readings tonight, guys. So not on AstroScopes. I'm not doing that, but what I do want to have a look at is Margaret Taylor. How do you get rid of the mood depression? How do you get rid of the mood depression gives you? I really need to know. I'm in a bad place. Look at that. I'm actually, now I just said I wasn't reading. Bang, Spirit got a different idea for me, they always do. Okay, I'm actually rubbing my chest. Now, I won't show you because, you know, it's after hours and I ripped my bra off about 4.5 hours ago and I have I just don't care. What, hashtag no bra, don't care. But I'm comfortable, so that's okay now that I've just announced it to everybody. See, there's quirks to being very honest. I'm rubbing my chest and I'm rubbing it in between my boobs, if you can call them boobs. I got a bit short changed on the boob part, Margaret. But I'm rubbing my breastplate. You know that bone? Yeah, you're doing it too. Okay. And I'm kind of like saying it's okay. And I'm feeling that part and I'm feeling all the little bones and I don't know if that is a particular meridian point or if it's something there, but even while I'm doing it, it kind of feels like my heart is getting patted, like, you know, like you're patting a dog. I know that sounds bizarre, but Leanne, you should try this too. It's like your boobs are here. My fists are so much bigger than my boobs, it's a joke. And in that in between there, okay, or Spirit just acknowledge that. So I'm doing something right. I don't know what it is. I've never done this before, but Margaret asked and I'm getting downloaded, so we just do it. And what I'm doing is my boobs are like in my cup of my hands, okay, and I'm rubbing my fingers down in between my boobs. And I'm pushing enough on the bone so I can feel the little ridges in my breastplate, but I'm not pushing enough to hurt myself. And there's just something about that movement that just says to me that it's okay, everything's okay. So it's like a calming thing. Give it a whirl, girls, and let me know how you go. I'll be back Thursday night for the Warrior Chronicles. So you can pop on there or you can pop on next Friday night at the same time, 8:30, and let me know how you go with that. But it just, to me, it kind of feels like I'm stroking my heart. I'm here. It's okay. I love you. I acknowledge you. And I'm the same time I'm providing kind of like a bit of a casing for my heart. So it's really quite bizarre. There's something going on there. Mine actually hurts to touch. I do this when I'm stressed. So Margaret, there's a key to this. I don't know what it is. I've never done it before. I'm going to do it more, especially when I'm ugly crying. That's really bizarre. Okay, what I'm going to do and what I would encourage you to do is look up meridian points, the meridian points, and they're all the way through your body, okay? And they're the easiest way to describe what they are, like little frequency points, little check-in points, okay? And they align all of our ions and our atoms and everything, okay? So they align the frequency that is us, that is our auric energy field, okay? So have a look at what that meridian point is that runs between your boobs, down your breastplate, towards your solar plexus. You know, as you sort of work on chakras, there's something going on there that it's like it makes it, yeah. There's just something there. But anyway, I'm not sure. Over to you, girls. Let me know how you go. And Leanne, yours hurts to touch. That's because you've been holding up that wall for so long. And you've got no more, you can't, the fence is, you built this fence up around your wall because you can't cope with any more hurt. And when you put that big fence around your heart wall, it eventually gets tired and it can't keep going. And yours is hurting because your fence is starting to break because you need to start working through some of the hurt and compartmentalizing the emotions that come with the hurt. Not so you can ignore it or lock it away, but so you can work with it and understand it and come out stronger instead of trying to hide it. You've certainly been through the ringer and you know, it's going to hurt for a little bit longer, especially if you've been crying too, because you've got these tiny little muscles all through your chest that when you heave from crying, they sort of will tighten up. So big, deep breaths for you. Maybe lie down and do that same movement tonight before you go to bed, and I'll send you my love because you need it, and I'm sending you a hug as well. All right, Layla, how come when you're on Lifetime just like, I don't know, it's like a vortex, isn't it? Like I've been on for 25 minutes, so much for my 10-minute AstroScopes, but we needed to cover some stuff. And it's we just did that. So we might just wing it from now on, do little astroscopes, because astrology is like my favorite subject in the entire world, aside from motorcycles, of course, and puppies and music. Well, yeah, anyway, astrology is up there, my top 5 things to talk about. So we'll do a little bit of astrology, and then we'll do some stuff like this if that's what you want to do. I mean, I don't mind. I'm flexible. Whatever spirit tells me to do, I just do because it's easier. But it has just been awesome checking in with all of you tonight, and everything happens for a reason. I'm very grateful that you all tuned in. Hopefully you got something out of Mercury and it helps you get through the next retrograde period, October 31st, a thinning veil, right through to November 20th. Okay, so almost Sagittarius season. So have a lovely Friday. I'm off tomorrow. I've got bookings most of tomorrow. Tomorrow night I am doing mediumship readings and psychic readings for a private breast cancer research function, which will be a blast because I donate half my proceeds back to the research for the party. The party provides the fundraising for the research for breast cancer. And then we have the Pink Ribbon Ride in New South Wales Western Suburbs on Sunday. So I'll be breaking out my Harley Davidson, dressing up in pink and revving the guts out of my engine for breast cancer on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So whatever you're doing, please make sure you always have a smile on your face. I love you very much. Thank you for being here. Good night.